All right, friends. Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. Once again, it's college football time. We're at the end of the season. It's very sad. But playoffs will be here, bowl games will be here, and beautiful thing, we got a lot of bets to get to. You know the drill. I see chat, you're here, I'm here. We'll give people just a minute or two. There's always stragglers. They don't know I'm going live. They forget all that good stuff. But once that happens, we'll send that out. Yep, now I've got it speaking twice. Here we go. All right. I think we're in business now. Let me put this here. It's a pretty good slate, honestly. Uh, Not the best games in the world because the SEC kind of has their, I don't know why they do this. They do their bye week and whatnot, but they have FCS schools for the most part. Can I touch on a few player props? I can try. I cannot bet player props in my state at all. So that makes it very difficult. So if you have one in mind, I'd be happy to take a look. I can try to just give you the complexion of the game as best I can. Certainly here to help, but I can't see the lines. So that makes it very difficult, my friend. But yeah, we got some pretty good bets on the board. And I'm going to start with this. We've hit the teaser 5 weeks in a row. You know we're going to be doing the teaser again. Let's get into the board. Eitan Shander posting bets on tails. Here we go. Okay. So a lot of beatdown potential in some of these games, especially for the big teams this week. Ohio State and all the SEC schools, they're not going to slip up. Oregon, of course, has a real test. SMU and Louisville is a real clash. Some of that. Good information. Appreciate it. I appreciate you for hanging out with me on this beautiful morning. If it was a Sunday morning and I was with Lofty and you watch our NFL show, I'd say atone for your sins. We probably haven't committed as many sins just yet. The weekend is just getting started. But either way, that does really help me out, and I appreciate it. And we're going to drop a lot of free bets. I'll be dropping free bets all day on tails for that specific reason, just to say thanks to everybody for hanging out and doing all that good stuff. But I think it's time. If you guys are ready, I'm ready to get into the board. I am ready to get this going right now. So let's get into it. So as I mentioned, not the best window up top. Miami, no. Delaware and Wake is a weird game. I do kind of lean to SMU. I like that spot. It's crept up a little bit at 4.5, but I'm not sold on Louisville. Maybe I'm just bitter from their last game where they committed like 6 personal fouls to lose the game. Yeah, not great. But let's scroll. Okay. Samford. We may talk about Samford later in the show. This spread, let's talk about Oklahoma and Missouri. The spread has come down. Missouri's taking the money. I am interested to see how much they can move the ball because Oklahoma's defense is ridiculous. Now, Oklahoma, who I was all over preseason, has killed me the last couple of weeks against Tennessee and Alabama. They had no business beating Alabama. That is just the facts. But their defense is ridiculous, and they make the plays when they need to, and Mateer does what he needs to do when he needs to. Back in Norman, it's going to be a sluggish game, 43.5, and I lean under. I like Oklahoma as a parlay piece. You can lay the 5.5. You could take minus 235. I'm okay with it. I think they're going to gut out another win here. They will be rowdy. They will be ready. I'm leaning to Oklahoma in this early game if you want the big game. We need Braylon Braxton to play. Truer words have never been. I stepped right in it last week with Southern Miss in the backup quarterback. Mekhi Lemon over on receiving yards. I'll tell you what, I'm never going to push back on that. He's a player, no doubt about it, and they're going to be throwing. I don't have the number in front of me, but the guy is just a walking monster. He's got 21 catches in the last 2 games. He's got 300 yards in the last 2 games. You want to go there? I'm fine to that. More into hockey, but I like your vibes and energy. Well, give me some good vibes on the ice because I had Tuck to score for the Sabres last night, and they scored 9 goals, and I didn't hit it. That's very disturbing. Team total, Missouri under 18.5. Let's look at that. I kind of like that. I don't bet a lot of team totals, but I could get on board with this. Even 17.5, you're not losing much there. Minus 118. Let's see what's going on here because I think that's a pretty sharp call from chat. Of course, the guy is very wise, so of course he knows what he's talking about. I don't think Missouri has many win scenarios where they outscore Oklahoma in a predominant way. Here it is, 18.5 at -115. This is a play. I'm on board with this. You can structure the game like this if you don't want to go to a game and you think that maybe there's a chance it's really ugly. I think obviously if Missouri doesn't hang 19 points, they have limited chances to win the game, but they still do have some equity that they could win the game in that type of scenario. So I'm okay with structuring it like that as well. All right, let's see what else we got here. In terms of early games, Kansas and Iowa State, no. Charlotte and Georgia, definitely not. Washington State and JMU, interesting game, kind of lean to the over. Old Dominion, Arizona, I don't know what they have been Jekyll and Hyde all over the place. The Cincinnati game, the BYU game, weird one here, points, but 62.5. We're not getting where I was hoping this would hang in the high 50s and I would attack an over. Apparently not. That is unfortunate for me. Mercer and Auburn. If there was one SEC school to struggle against these made-up schools, this would be the game. It still should be like a 30-point blowout, so I don't really have a lot to say there. Ball State and Toledo should be a blowout. Wyoming and Nevada. This is I don't know if it's an interesting game, but it's a game at least I want to talk about. Nevada is pretty rough. There's no doubt about it. They're 2-8, but they just beat San Jose State 55-10 in the last game. And I'll be honest, I don't really know why. But now they got to trek to Laramie. That's a weird spot. Wyoming is always good at home. There's no doubt about it. They're much stronger at home. You just look at their last 5 games. They're 2-3. They're 2-0 at home, and they're 0-3 on the road. I kind of like Wyoming in this spot. This is not a bet that I have put in yet, but if you follow me on Tails, which is completely free, by the way, you're going to get a notification at some point today, and it's going to say Wyoming. If you don't know what I'm talking about, by the way, it's why you want to be on Tails, because we're dropping so many bets. Obviously, College Football Saturday is a trending topic right now. All this good stuff, and I've already put out some bets. You just go there, you follow who you want, and every time you get a bet, you get alerted to it. Not only that, for anyone watching that is unaware, you just press tail. And look at this. It syncs it for your books. It's that simple. This is why everyone is hopping over here, because it's the easiest place to get quality content. And this is all free content for you. Parlays, boosts, notifications every time a bet drops, leaderboards so you can check out streaks. This is where it's at. Please come over and give me a follow. I'm about to hit 5,000 followers. I'm in a race to get there, and I want to get there. So got to put out some winners. Eastern Illinois and Alabama, another just nonsense game. What do we got? Who is the Sharks? No, yeah, the Sharks are on the ice. Celebrini's unbelievable. Need a 2 or 3 team Moneyline parlay lock. We'll talk about some of those. I do think so far of the teams we've talked about, Wyoming and Oklahoma is probably your 2 best in terms of structuring that down and whatnot. But you're going to have options in the Moneyline parlay streets. So we'll build one, no doubt about it. South Florida and UAB, honestly, you couldn't set this high enough in my mind. I think South Florida is going to score 50, give or take, 55, something like that. So if UAB can get us 20, I think it gets there. Connecticut and FAU, no. Liberty and Louisiana Tech, no. Middle Tennessee State, I like Wyoming in the same structure better, but Sam Houston State is really rough. Now, they have played a little better, and honestly, as I say that, chat just mentioned Sam Houston Moneyline. Like, these are bad teams. Middle Tennessee State, of my big misses this year, if you want to rank my big misses preseason, number 1 by far is Clemson. Middle Tennessee State might be 2. I was really high on them, and they're just not that good. They lost to a FCS school to open the season, and they never really recovered in some iteration. So if you want to go to the grease, you can. That game and the UTEP game right below it are ones that are ugly, to say the least. Kentucky and Vanderbilt, this is one of the good SEC games today. I don't have a great angle, though. I think that's a pretty efficient line. I like Vanderbilt to win the game. I like Vanderbilt to handle their business. Do they win by 10? Do they win by 6? Do they win by 3? I really don't have a great read. It screams to the total and to the 31-24 type game. I think Kentucky money line is live, but I'd probably want better than plus 270. That's not on my radar personally. If I had to play a dog money line, it would not be either of those. I'll give you one though. All right, big game here. The Ducks, the Trojans in Autzen. It's moved through 10. I believe it's 10.5 everywhere that I have seen. It is 10.5 at minus 105. Sub 60 total, but on the hook. So points in this one. I don't know exactly how USC is going to slow them. That's my big problem. If you have boosts and you have promos, I would structure it to the Oregon side. I actually think tempo will be suppressed in the game. So if I was going to do it, it would be something like this. Oregon in the under. That's really isolating that USC, A, doesn't play at any type of hyper pace, and B, that Oregon's able to control on the ground and they force USC to be crazy efficient. There's no doubt that USC has some really high octane offense. We've seen this all year. I'm not discounting that by any stretch, but I do look at Oregon and they just need to get a little healthier. That's their thing. But the injuries are on the offensive side. DeCorian Moore has been hurt. Evan Stewart has been hurt. Gary Bryant's been kind of playing, but not really. They're just banged up there. The offensive line is intact. And honestly, I worry about USC's run defense. I have a feeling that they're going to get shredded on the ground. South Florida team total over 44.5 looks good. Yeah, that's another play. South Florida is going to score a lot of points today. I like Oregon to control on the ground. That's the easiest way I can put it. And you look at Oregon's defense, they're really strong in that secondary. So I think this is kind of a pretty bad matchup for USC. Team total, I just think Oregon plays with not with tempo. I think they control on the ground. So I'm not going to a team total. I'd rather lay the points in the game. Arkansas and Texas, I really don't know what to make of Texas. They lost again. It's a tough ask. Do they have anything left? Arkansas is not a great team. I'm sure they'll handle them, but it's very hard to quantify coming off the Georgia game. What happens? We've had a couple people ask for the live dog. You want a live dog? Right here. I don't really get this. I know North Carolina is not a great team by any stretch, but is Duke? Honestly, how good is Duke? Maybe I don't understand why Duke all year has been getting the love, because I don't see it. I really don't. This is a bet. I already put this over on Tails, and I like this spot. This is a spot. I put this in the parlay. Let's see. Let's see what we're doing here. I got to go back. We're just going to give you my bets. You can go to the Explore feed, but I'm selfish. Look at that. North Carolina's right in this boost. As you can see, I don't really get why Duke gets a lot of respect here. They're a 5-5 football team that's lost 3 of 4. They've been pretty uneventfully bad, I'd say, most of the year. Wins: Elon, NC State, Syracuse, Cal, Clemson. There's nothing in there. They just lost by 17 to Virginia. North Carolina has not had a good season. I'm not going to spin that, but they're 4-6. They've won 2 of 3. They've been better at home. They're improving as the season gets on. Say what you want about Belichick, but the team is improving. That's a fact. I don't know how you could say anything otherwise. I think North Carolina is very live in this game. I took the points. I will sprinkle on the money line. I'm riding with the Tar Heels in the rivalry game at home. I think they play well, and I think they make it very competitive. All right, let's keep it scrolling. And again, if you guys got questions, we're still going to build some at the end. And I know I've mentioned you can find me tails.bet. I'm going to put my thing right into chat because people ask that all the time. Very, very simple here. What else do we have on the docket? There are some night games. It's not the best in the world. Here we go. All right. Here, for anybody that wants this, it's right there. Click that. You get free bets all day. Simple as that. Michigan State and Iowa, 17.5, I will say, is a lot of points. That's a lot of points for a 42.5 point total. I don't know why you'd really want to get involved in this game, but that is a lot of points. Okay, Southern Miss. I blew it last week with this. Apologies, didn't know. I got duped on the quarterback situation. It's hard to know what the hell is going on there. I thought he was going to play. He did not. Last I saw, he's questionable. So I'm not doing anything with this game until I want to see him on the field. UNC lock for the teaser. That might be true. East Carolina. They've been good lately. I like this team. Did some stuff with them last week. So you could look there. UTSA, I respect it. That's a hard-fought game. That's going to be a battle, back and forth. Two very competent teams in their own right. All right, let's scroll a little bit. Michigan and Maryland, nothing there. Utah. Okay, I want to talk about Houston. Could be a blind spot for me because there are some optics that definitely lean to TCU in the game, particularly that it's a strength on strength for them. They're good at stopping the run. Houston's got somewhat of a potent rushing attack. TCU can throw through the air. Houston can be exploited a little bit. But some of that is in theory, and some of that is not coming to fruition. TCU, what are they doing lately? They looked awful last week. Absolutely terrible. They're 6-4, and they just lost by 30 points to BYU. Yes, BYU is very good. But Hoover in that game had no touchdowns, a pair of picks. He had -6 yards rushing. I'm not super sold that TCU is really firing on all cylinders here. And now they got to hit the road. Their road splits this year have been blah. North Carolina, sure. Arizona State lost. Kansas State lost. They beat West Virginia. They got crushed by BYU. Houston's been a really improved team this entire year. Obviously, Wegmans give them stability at quarterback. I look at what they've done. They lost to Texas Tech, and they lost a game to West Virginia. That's a bad loss. I'm not going to defend that. But I like Houston in this spot. Look at this, gangrene. Already on tails, and I follow a bunch of you guys. That's right, follow a bunch of people. Lots of plays, lots of fun. I appreciate that. Really good stuff, man. Yeah, I'm going to take Houston in this game. This is one, again, it was part of the parlay for me. I think Houston can control at home. Furman and Clemson, no. Texas State, if you want a beatdown game, I don't mind laying the points here. Texas State might be back. The wagon from 2 years ago might have superseded and become a wagon again when they don't fumble like 6 times in a game. It turns out they're very, very potent. Who would have thunk it? All right, let's get to a couple more here. All right, this is a big game. Pittsburgh and Georgia Tech. I broke down this. This is what I did this morning. I woke up. I looked at what the hell happened late night in college basketball. And then I broke down Pittsburgh and Georgia Tech, and I ended up on Georgia Tech. This is a team in Georgia Tech. Obviously, both teams really need the game. Pittsburgh did the old, we don't care about Notre Dame, and then they got beat down, and it's all about ACC. Georgia Tech needs the game as well. So, all right, optics. Pittsburgh. This is a team that their quarterback play is average at best, not super sold on it. With the, they made the change, blah, blah, blah. They're built, I guess, on defense, but they got to go against Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech's got a lot of ways that they can cause some problems for Pittsburgh. Georgia Tech certainly has the edge on the outside. I like their receivers. Pittsburgh's defense is really stout against the run. It's not to say they're weak against the pass at all, but they're definitely tougher up front. And Georgia Tech's defense is pretty weak, but you also have to look at level of competition. Pittsburgh's played a lot of lame ducks in the ACC, so has Georgia Tech. They're on the road here. To me, the difference is quarterback play, though. Haynes King is healthy, which is something we haven't said too often in years past. He's got dynamic playmakers on the outside, and Georgia Tech has not been playing good football. There's no doubt about that. I can't defend it, but they did win some of those games. They beat Boston College 36-34. 2 straight road games. Now they come home. Obviously, like most teams, more comfortable at home. They're undefeated at home. I like Georgia Tech in this spot. It's a team that I was not super high on, and the more I looked, the more I liked. Can I interest you in Temple against Tulane? That would be a wild one. Where is that game? 7.5's not bad. Tulane really needs the game, but yeah, Temple's been better. I don't think that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. I really don't have a great read on Temple, I'll be honest, though. I might tell you on that, though. And there's some stepped up parlays and stuff, so if I go like alt lines, I might. Actually, I know what I'm going to do with Temple. Spoiler alert, they're going to be in the teaser. All right. Here we go. Stanford and Cal, that's a fun game. Tennessee and Florida, I do lean to Tennessee. If you want one here, Florida's just been so banged up all year. Obviously, it all crumbled, coaching change, blah, blah, blah. Just not much to say with the Gators this year. Western Kentucky and LSU. I don't know about all that. BYU and Cincinnati. So this was a spot that I had circled. And maybe it's a sign of growth for me. I'm not nearly as high on Cincinnati as I thought I would be. So I am tepidly interested, but I'm not diving in full force. I really think that this could be a precarious spot. I don't know what the hell happened to Cincinnati last week. I had no reason why they would lose to Arizona. Sometimes you just lose, turnovers and whatnot. But that was really surprising. On the flip side, BYU handled their business. They were at home. They have to hit the road, and this is a tough game. BYU absolutely could go down here. I thought this was going to be a kill spot like the Texas Tech BYU spot, and we know I've been wrong on BYU a lot this year. I lean Cincinnati in the game, I do, but a hard-fought game at that, and it's only 2.5 points. Oklahoma money line, Vanderbilt money line, USF team total over. I don't have a problem with that. Chop it, of course. But if you're getting 44.5 on that team total and you're getting, reasonable in the 250 range, I get that. I get that. That is definitely a way to structure today. All right. Let's see what else we've got here. There's not that many games late at night. We've got Arizona State and Colorado. I don't mess around with Colorado. They're terrible. Utah State. San Jose State, yeah, that's about it, honestly. There's not that much else. So we'll recap here. We talked about a lot of teams. Again, I'm not betting every single one of these. You'll see on Tails what makes the final card. But actually, I'm probably going to bet the majority of these, especially if you count the boosts. All of these could find their way in there. For a blah game, for a blah week, there's actually more than you would think. And we're just talking about college football here. Wait till college basketball goes on. I mean, my God, there's so many games. And you better believe that I will be betting all of them. All right. Now, let's get to the teaser. Are you guys ready for the teaser? The money-making teaser. I don't know why this works. It obviously is. Let's not be clear. Be clear. You don't want to make a habit of betting teasers, but we've been having a blast on this, and we've been cashing it every week. I'm gonna get triple nuke outrageous here. I don't even know if they're gonna let me do this, but I'm gonna try. I'm putting Samford in the teaser. I don't care. Texas A&M is not going to score 70 points. They're just not. They're not going to do that. I don't see why they would do that. That just seems insane to me. All right. That's one. Where's Temple? Temple. That's two. Look at this. Look at the monstrosity that we're creating right now. Who do we want to go to? Texas State. And Air Force. Look at this. This built itself. This is a beauty. My God. That is a teaser if I've ever seen one. I mean, that is really out there. But we ride. We ride with this teaser. No doubt about it. Yeah, this is going to be a great one to sweat. I can't wait to sweat Samford. There is nothing I like more than sweating a 70-point spread. It's fantastic. Highly recommend. And again, this will be going up on tails momentarily. So if you do follow me over there, you'll get the push notification and you can one quick tail it if you don't want to go in and build it. So just give me about 10 minutes after the show. I'll put this in right away and you'll get the notification. Again, I dropped my link right there in chat. Hop in, tails. Free content dropping all day for college football. Friends, I think we did some seriously good work here. We went through a bunch of games, bunch of angles, and we've got a teaser to come out of it. So if you have any questions for me, at JazzRazBets, right on the screen. You can tweet me at any time. And of course, let's make it a big day. Bounce back week. I didn't have a good week 12 in college football. College basketball has been amazing. College football has been hit and miss. So let's make it a hit, as they say, right now. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. Good luck with all your wagers. Stay tuned for a lot of action coming your way on the Tails Free Picks feed. And win, lose, or draw, see you next week.